Welcome back to this three-part video series. So this is the final video in the series of three. If you haven't seen the first and second video yet, I do suggest that you go and watch those before you continue with this. The links to both videos in the description. I'm now excited to give you some actionable steps that you can take to get started with this yourself. I can also give you a bit more information about more support if that was something of interest to you. In the previous two videos, we have covered how strength training has a potential to transform your life to a future where you are active, playing sports and keeping up with the grandchildren. We confirmed that the World Health Organization's physical activity guidelines suggests that we should be doing 2 to 3 sessions of muscle strengthening exercises per week. I then went on to recognize that you may well have some objections to getting started, which is completely understandable as there's a lot of negative beliefs and myths around. We then went on to introduce you to Mike and Phil and their stories of how they got started. Through their stories, I helped to show you that the objections that you came up with aren't reasons to stop getting started. They're just things that we have to take into account as we do get started. I really hope by seeing Mike and Phil's story that you have started to have a little bit of belief that this is something that is possible for you, that you can look forward to a more active, enjoyable future. That brings me on to the third video where we're going to start to go through a few more actionable steps that you can take and what strength training looks like. Before I get started with how to get going with strength training, I just wanted to go over another objection that came up from the last video. They're worried that they're going to get bulky if they start to lift weights. To get bulky, you have to perform the exercises at a slightly different intensity and with a lot more frequency. If you go through the strategy that I talk about in a second and you're going twice a week, you're not going to get bulky. You might increase a little bit of size, but more importantly, you're going to build strength. And it's the strength that is going to allow you to do the activities you want to do. Before we even go near a weight or go near the gym, we need to start to think a little bit bigger picture. So we've done that a little bit throughout the previous two videos. But I want you to start to have a vision of what you want the future to look like. What is your goal? What do you want to be able to do? And whenever your motivation wanes, you can think back to that positive image of what you want your life to look like. And that's what's going to keep you inspired. We then need to go on to planning. So not just about planning the workouts, but planning where are you going to work out? What time of day? How many times a week? How long will each workout last? If you're doing it at home, where are you going to store the equipment? How long is it going to take you to get the equipment out that you need? Everyone would have answered those questions differently. If you haven't thought about it for your individual circumstances, we're probably not going to maintain motivation. Then we need to think about which exercises you're going to do during your workouts. There are a lot of options out there, and I know when there's too much choice, it can be really difficult to get started. So I've put together this post, which is called 7 Functional Movements, Progressions, Regressions, and Adaptions Around Pain. It will go through the 7 main functional movement patterns that we look at within strength training. It will give you a few options that you could choose from to incorporate into your program. You can find the link to that below. The key to building strength isn't in the exercise selection and what exercise you choose. It's all about the intensity that you perform that exercise at. So the key term that we're going to concentrate on here is working out till failure or working out to fatigue. For example, if I ask you to do 10 repetitions of an exercise such as a squat, you should find the early repetitions relatively easy. The latter ones, so 7th, 8th, 9th, particularly challenging. And the 10th should almost be the last one you can manage. If I actually ask you to do another one, once you finish your 10th, you should find that you've got nothing left. The muscles have got nothing left to give and you can't actually perform your 11th. That will have meant that you reach fatigue or reach failure at 10 repetitions, which was the target. That is where the increased strength comes from. If you had got to the 10th and actually you could have done another 10, you wouldn't have necessarily built strength as an outcome of the exercise. If body weight is particularly easy and you can do 10 without feeling like you've pushed yourself, that's where we do need some form of external resistance. That might be in a weight such as a dumbbell, kettlebell, or a barbell. Or if you're at home and you're just getting started, you can be creative and you can use a rucksack with bottles of water in. But rather than do more repetitions, I want you to increase the weight so that the fatigue point starts to happen at that 10th repetition, if that was the aim. To build strength, we really want that fatigue point to happen at some point within 15 repetitions. You might take a couple of weeks to get to that point, get familiar with the exercises first, then start to get familiar with the the concept of pushing yourself to fatigue and get confident with that. Then once we've started to reach fatigue at 15 repetitions consistently, that's when we actually want to bring the weight up and bring the repetitions down. Then you might try and aim to reach fatigue at 12 repetitions for a week or two, then 10, then 8, then 6. The closer that you can get to 5 repetitions, that's where you really build strength. But this is going to be a long process. It's not going to be done in 2 or 3 weeks. Very least, I recommend 12 weeks, but for many of you, that might be longer. And you'll take a little bit more time at each stage before progressing. One of the biggest mistakes that I see with people who start strength training and start lifting weights, they are happy that they've managed to do the exercise without flaring up any of their pain. So they feel like they found this safe exercise routine. And then what happens is they stick with it. If when you started, the 10th repetition was close to fatigue, as you continue over a few weeks, you'll start to find that actually the 10th no longer feels close to fatigue because you've got stronger and you could have done a few more. But people are scared to increase the weight again. So they stick with the same weight. They stick with the same repetitions. So you're not necessarily going to get stronger. You're just going to be going through the motions. So it is important that you do keep progressing, but we progress within the limitations of, are you experiencing pain or how fatigued you feel afterwards? You're not going to go through this as quickly as you might have done in your 30s, but we can certainly continue to progress and continue to get stronger. To recap, you're going to want to identify your goals and your motivations. You're going to pick and select your exercises for which you're then going to build familiarity with. You're then going to build the confidence to work out to fatigue. And over time, you're gradually going to increase the weight. So the fatigue point doesn't happen at 15 repetitions anymore. It happens at 12, then 10, then 8, and then you're going to get that closer to 5. And that might be over a 12-week period. If you found these videos useful and you're wanting to take action, but you're still feeling a bit nervous and you want a little bit more support, then I want to introduce you to the Never Too Old to Lift ebook. This ebook will guide you through the 8 steps to create, adapt and progress your own 12-week strength training program. I wrote the ebook because I recognize that the pre-made online workouts that you can find are aimed at a one-size-fits-all that doesn't fit everyone's needs. If there's one exercise that you can't do or a couple that you can't do, then often you find that you just lose motivation with the whole of the workout and you just give up with it. Rather than just give you a pre-made list of exercises, I give you the theory within the ebook so that you can create your own program and you can adapt it around your own needs, or if a problem arises later on, rather than just stopping, you know how you can progress the exercises to be able to continue through and progress again when you're ready. As a thank you for watching all 3 videos, I'd like to offer you 20% off the ebook. So to find the ebook, you go to nevertooldtolift.com/ebook. As you're putting in your details, there'll be a space for a discount code, and that's where you write in YouTube 20. That will get you your 20% discount code. The link to the ebook is in the description below, along with the other links that I mentioned before. Leave a comment below with any questions. Let us know, have you been inspired to start? What's your plan? When are you going to get started? Let us know if you bought the ebook and what your thoughts are. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful. Do subscribe to the channel because there's plenty more videos coming later that will help inspire you, give you the theory you need to work towards a more active future. Please do share this whole video series with anyone that you think would benefit from it. I'm passionate about this project and its message, and I'd love to help as many people as I can. Thanks once again for watching all 3 videos. Do keep in touch. Let me know how you get on with your journey. And if you have any questions, do reach out to me. All the best.